Hello everyone. So today we will start with this chapter of development, which is the chapter 1 of your economics textbook NCERT class 10th. Now this will be the chapter which we will start today. All right. Now before moving ahead, can you just tell me what is the difference between development and the word growth? When we talk about these two phenomena, when we talk about these two words or terms, what are the basic difference? When we say development, it is always qualitative in nature. Okay, it is not quantitative, it is always qualitative in nature. Means quality of life or quality of anything is being judged under development. When we talk about growth, it is quantitative in nature. Means we can quantify growth, we can measure growth, ठीक है, in terms of figures, in terms of numbers. So when we talk about growth, it is quantitative, and basically quantity is being measured. It can be negative as well as positive, and when we talk about development, it is always positive in nature. Now the development idea is basically something which is always associated with you. ठीक है, it is a kind of progress which is always associated with all of us. When we talk about when we talk about this term development, it is always associated, like in example, for example, when you get some stuff, whether it is toy which you were getting when you were quite young, so every time you think of something extra, or every time you think of something better from what you are having right now, ठीक है, it could be anything, it could be any materialistic thing. So that thinking of, or that idea of getting a better product, or that thinking of getting a better stuff, is something which is associated with the term development. ठीक है, and it is not only the fact that you are being provided with something, or if you are having any aspiration or desire of getting or achieving something in your life, it is not only you who will fulfill all your needs and desire. It is also the nation, it is also the state in which you are living, that also supports you to achieve your goals. Like different kinds of political freedom, rights, liberties are being provided by the state in which you are living, the country in which you are living. So basically these supports also adds up to your development goals. It cannot be, or it could be the fact that these goals of political freedom, liberty, rights, this could not be your own development goal. Your own development goal could be different, like gaining a good employment, better lifestyle, ठीक है, moving out of India or settling somewhere in abroad. So that is something different, but the support which is being provided to you is by the area in which you are living. So in fulfilling the aspirations, desire of a particular person, the nation also plays its own role, ठीक है. Now when we talk about the word development, is it same for all of us? Let's see. All right. So when we talk about development for different people, it is certainly different. When we take the example of different people, like category, you can see landless, rural laborer, a labor who is working in rural farms, but he is not owning any land, or he is not having his own land. So what will his desire will be? So what will be his goal? To get good amount of work, more days of work is the foremost priority of that worker. Also wages, the second one is wages. Better wages means better life conditions, better health facilities, better education for the family. So if that person will not have better wages, if he will not have good number of days for working, then what he will do, he will also engage his uh, family members in different fields, so that the family will get more income. And then what will happen? Children will not go to the school, and if children will not go to the school, they will work in some farm, and that will be their lifelong process. Now if the children will not gain good education, they will again provide that kind of life or that kind of conditions to their uh, kids as well, because they are not gaining the education, they are not getting the education to improve the situations or improve the conditions of their life. Okay, because if they will get the education, if the parents will be that much aware कि if they will provide education to their children, then they can certainly improve their condition there, they can certainly improve their uh, life, or the better facility they will get, because they will get good employment, a better job security, then the conditions of their life will improve, then they will not have to work into anybody's farm. But if they will not get good amount of money, then they have to work in the field. So you can just imagine key development goals, how it varies from one person to another, just because the requirements of each and every person it varies. Okay. Now this local school is able to provide education for their children, but who is required to send the children to the school? It is the parents. And how and when they will send their children to the school? Only when they will get good payment or good working conditions. Here in this image you can see that this man is talking to his son that he wants a car. His son, he wants a car, but he's saying that the way our country is moving, or the way our country is developing, you cannot think of a car. Rather, you can think of owning or getting this rickshaw someday when you will grow up, and then you will have to pull it just like I am doing. Means he is totally, you can say he's not believing in the way our nation is developing, or he is totally in such kind of poor situations, or in such kind of poor condition he is living, that is he is just not believing कि the education would change the condition of their life, or whether the nation is doing anything for them or not. So different people, just because of their different requirement, they are having different goals, and they are having different development agendas. Means what development is for you cannot be development for me, cannot be development for someone who is living in the roadside area, or someone who is begging in the roadside area, and someone who is near the temple who is begging, or someone who is in luxurious hotels who is taking meetings, or someone who is having lots of business empire in his or her name. So it is something which varies from one person to another, just because of our situations. All right. Next example is, yes, from a girl from rich urban family. What happens? What is development for her? She wants as much freedom as her brother, and is able to decide what she wants to do in life. Means now you can see the development for this girl from rich urban family is quite different. She wants freedom, just her brother is having, because generally boys are given more freedom as compared to the girls. For that is the reason why this girl is thinking of getting more freedom, just like her brother. So this is how development is changing. Now a prosperous farmer, assured high family income is the goal for this farmer, through higher support prices for their crops. Now you can see that was the laborer, rural landless laborer, and this is prosperous farmer. Now that laborer, if he or she is working in his farm, their development goal was different, and now the goal of this farmer is different. He want better or higher family income, and also higher support price. This higher support price will be provided by whom? By the government. So you can see by each and every step, by each and every a different category. We are having different development goals. This is how development is all about, and this is how development changes from one person to another. Again, in this picture, you can see this man sitting in the car. He is just saying that those people don't want to develop. Arey bhai, the condition is that you are sitting in this car and honking around. But the condition of this poor mother is totally different, just like earth and the sky. She is not having enough milk even to feed her child. She is not having the shelter to hide herself. And you are talking ki that kind of people don't want to develop. The reason is development for a person sitting in this car is something very different. He wants the society to be developed by removing those poor, but this poor people, they want development in terms of basic requirement like shelter, food, ठीक है, clothes and some amount of income so that they can have good amount of survivability. Their life can just move on. So two things are quite clear. One, different person can have different development goals. That this is what we have discussed. And also second is कि what may be development for one may not be development for the other. It may even be destructive for the other. Means it is not always necessary कि development for one, if it is not development for the other, it is just okay. It is not the way. Means sometimes what you are thinking in terms of development could be destruction for somebody else. Like like this person only, if we will take the example of this person only, if he thinks of removing all those poors from the roadside area, then when where these people will go? It means you will kill them, or you will remove them completely to a deprived area, or you will just put them in some gas chambers and or what. So this is something which is very destructive. All right, means you are thinking of development by putting somebody's life into poor conditions. Or I can simply say that if a dam is being constructed, let's say if a dam is constructed on a river, ठीक है, if a dam is constructed, so since the amount of household which is just located near the riverside area, what will happen, all these household is basically getting the water from this river, and generally maximum amount of civilization or maximum amount of density is present just near the river water, because we are having plain like condition, and also water is there for agricultural purposes and various kinds of other situations. All right, now the urban area people or the urban area is planning to set up a dam just to set up hydropower plant to supply electricity to these areas. All right, to supply electricity to urban areas. Now when this dam which is full of water, ठीक है, now this dam which is full of water, what will happen if this dam will burst? It will completely destroy all the house which is present just near this riverside. Why this is the case? Because if the dam will burst, the water, the amount of water which that reservoir is carrying, it will completely burst out and it will just flood the whole area, and the whole house which is all the houses which is located there, they will get destroyed. But it is not impacting the urban area. It is not the sense of destruction for the urban area. For urban areas, it is development in terms of hydropower generation or hydroelectricity. But for rural area or for this people who is living just near the river, it is destruction. So we can clearly say that development for one cannot be development for other. Second point, development for one can be destruction for the other. Okay, this is how development the notion of development changes. Now, a question arises, do all these persons have the same notion of development or progress? The answer is yes, no. Okay, this is how we discussed. So, we got to know that different people can have different development goals, alright? Yes, of course, they can have, and maybe the development for other can be destructive or destruction for somebody else. Okay, this is clear. Now, how this development is basically measured, how we can say that a society, a nation, or a state is developed, and how we can set goals for different kinds of development, or for a nation, for a state, for a society, for an individual. So, we need to have some idea about income and other goals. Okay. Now, besides seeking more income, which is one of the development goal for individual, okay, or a family. So besides seeking more income, people also seek things like equal treatment, freedom, security, and respect for others. All right, this is true. Now, one more thing I want to tell you is that I was talking about materialistic thing. All right, can you just tell me what is the difference between materialistic and non-materialistic thing? Non-materialistic thing, materialistic thing is something which is physical product, all right, all the materialistic thing, all those stuff which you get like mobile phones, means which you can handle, okay, which you can see, which you can feel, which is tangible in nature, they all are materialistic equipments, materialistic products. But when we talk about non-materialistic thing, these are something which is, which cannot be seen, okay, which is, which can be your idea, which can be your belief, which can be your friendship, which can be your relation, which can be your matlab, love, passion, okay, this belief, faith, worship, ideas, thought, they all are non-materialistic things. So these non-materialistic thing is also part of development. Okay, it is not always necessary कि you only need materialistic thing, you only have the goal of gaining this materialistic thing, but you also have this goal or desire of having this non-materialistic thing as well. It is always not necessary कि you need, only need materialistic, like only you need different kinds of stuff. Rather you also need friendship, rather you also need relations, okay, you also need love. So this is something which is non-materialistic, and at the same point of time it is development goals. Okay, it can be goal for someone, somebody only, if somebody is very rich, he is not having any good relations, he is not having good friends, so he, what is the development goal for that person? It could be friendship, it could be love. So this non-materialistic equipment or non-materialistic thing is also part of the goal of the development, and it also varies from one person to another. Now, besides seeking more income, people also have different kinds of agendas, different kinds of other means, like they need good amount of treatment, means good health facilities, they want freedom chahiye, they need good security, they need respect for others, or they have to respect, as well as they also want their own others to respect them. They resent discrimination, means some, nobody wants to get discriminated from somebody else. So this is what they resent, they just oppose. Okay, in some cases these may be more important than income, just like in the case of non-materialistic desire. If you are not having any materialistic desire, anything which is physical in nature, or like a physical product, then it is more important than income. All right, because it is something which you want in life to be happy, it is something which you want to be, which you want in your life, but you cannot purchase it, it is something which you cannot buy, even if whatever amount of money you have. So this is something which is more important, sometimes in case sometimes from the income. And the reason is because material goods are not all that you need to live, because it is not always the material, or it is not always the product or the equipments or the stuff which you need to survive in your life. There are certain other things which I already mentioned. These are also equally important, just like the materialistic things. Money or material factors we can buy with it, okay, which is one factor on which our life depend. Money or material factor, which is materialistic things or equipments we can buy with it, all right. This is just the one factor. Which is the another one? The non-materialistic thing, which is the quality of life, which is the relation, which is the love, passion, uh, different belief, worship, faith, etc. Okay, these are some freedom. These are something which is non-materialistic and equally important. Also, the quality of our life also depends on this non-materialistic thing only, just now we discussed, and they cannot be measured. This is something which you need to know, that this non-materialistic thing cannot be measured, but they means a lot in our lives. Money, it can be measured, it also means a lot for our lives, but non-materialistic thing, they cannot be measured, but it is equally important, and it do means a lot in our life. If you get a job in a far off place, you will get good income. Let's say if you are getting a job in foreign country and you are not having any family member living with you in that country, so what is the need of that money? I- Still you will think, yes, I will go there, I will settle myself there, I will marry to a girl who is living over there. So that is different thing again. Now when you are thinking of getting settled over there by marrying a girl who is living over there, that marriage, that sense of love which you want, that sense of protection, that sense of uh, togetherness, or whatever you want in your life, is not only the income. Rather, you also want to get settled in your life with someone, with your partner, with your family members. That sense, that attachment is something which is non-materialistic thing, which cannot be measured. All right. Similarly, for development, people look at a mix of goals. Now, there are different goals. Just now we discussed everything. Okay. I hope there's no confusion. कि materialistic thing also we have different kinds of materialistic things. Similarly, we have different kinds of non-materialistic thing. So development के लिए लोगों को भी इन्हीं सारी चीज़ों की ज़रूरत होती है, and then we can call it as mix of goals, materialistic as well as non-materialistic. अगर women are engaged in paid work, then what will happen? Their respect in the society increases, their dignity in the household increases. If they are sharing their housework, means the male person in the household is also sharing the work which the women alone was doing earlier, then there will be greater acceptance of women working outside. Why? Then people will start thinking, yes, the women can also do the work of men, and men at the same point of time can do the work of women, whether it is of house or whether it is of outside. Now, a safe and secure environment may allow more women to take up a variety of jobs or run a business. So, we need to empower women, and at the same point of time, we have to share the work of the women, and we also need to provide them better environment, safe environment, just to ensure that they can take up different kinds of jobs, and just to make sure that they are not facing any difficulty in working outside. Now, these are some of the important questions from your textbook which you all have to do. Why do different persons have different notions of development? You can easily discuss. Now, which of the following explanation is more important and why? So among these two, which of the following is more important, and if you choose any of them, you just have to justify why it is correct. Do the following two statements mean the same? Justify your answer. Now in these two statements, for both of these, you have to justify the statement that people have different development goals. If yes, then you have to justify. Or, and second one is people have conflicting development goals. Now these two statement, you have to compare between these two statement, that whether they are same or they are different, and you also have to justify your answer by giving examples. Give some example where factors other than income are important aspects of our lives. So just now we discussed many of the examples. Any one you can write, or if you have something extra or something better, you can write even that also. Explain some of the important ideas of the above section in your own word, that you can do. Now in this picture you can see key, in this picture on the right, this building which clearly depicts the society of the urban areas, and this jhopadis or juggis, these are something which is resembling the slum just near the urban societies. Okay, or we can clearly say that these are poor people. Okay, these are poor people living in the slum areas, and these are rich people living in the high class or high societies areas. Okay, rich and poor. Now what should be the development goals for such an area? Now you have to tell me, or you have to write the answer in two different parts, taking the example of what should be the development goals of people living in this high-rise society buildings and the people who is living in this slum areas, or the poor people who is living in these jhuggi jhopadis. Third question is what can be, second question is on the other slide. All right, so the next question is this: what can be some of the development goals for your own village, town or locality? So wherever you are living right now, you just need to discuss key what can be the development goals of different peoples who are living in your area, or in the town in which you are living, in the locality in which you are living, in the society in which you are living, or in the village in which you are living. So you have to just discuss that also. Now in this uh, newspaper article, it is there ki the question is ki read this newspaper report and you have to answer the question that follow. Now a vessel which is dumped with 500 tons of liquid toxic wastes into open air, it dumps in a city and in the surrounding sea. Okay? Now this happened in a city called Abidjan, which is in Ivory Coast. This is the name of the city, Abidjan, which is in Ivory Coast, a country of Africa. Now the fumes from the highly toxic waste caused nausea, skin rashes, fainting, diarrhea, etc. After a month, 7 persons were dead in that area, 20 were in hospital, and 26,000 treated for symptoms of poisoning just because of this waste product which was dumped in the area of Abidjan. Okay, this was liquid toxic waste. Now, a multinational company, which is MNC, dealing in petroleum and metals, had contracted a local company of the Ivory Coast, ठीक है, to dispose the toxic waste from its ship. This is what the article is. Again, let me explain it to you. It is talking about a city called Abidjan, which is in Ivory Coast of Africa. Ivory Coast is basically a country of Africa, a smaller country it is, and Abidjan is a small city in Ivory Coast. Now a vessel, it used to dump 500 ton of liquid waste into open air. ठीक है, open, which used to dump 500 tons of liquid toxic waste. So what happened in the surrounding sea area of Abidjan? They just deposited that 500 tons of liquid waste. Then now what happened? That toxic waste started some of the fumes or some smoke or foul smell, they started coming out from that toxic waste from that area. Now what happened, it created lots of disease or different kinds of problems for the people living over there. It created nausea, skin rashes, fainting, diarrhea kind of situation to people who were living over there. And after a month, 7% were dead just because of these kind of conditions, and 26,000 people were found with different kinds of symptoms of poisoning. Now this multinational company, which was dealing in petroleum and metal, it just had a deal, had a contract with the local company of Ivory Coast to dispose the toxic waste from its ship. So, considering these text from the article, you have to find out ki who are the people who benefit and who did not. Now, when we talk about certain kind of this kind of situations, what will happen if that MNC is providing contract to that local company? Certainly, the local company is getting good amount of or good handsome amount of money, that is for sure. But the benefit is associated with the local company which is located in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, and who is not benefited, it is the local people who is living just near the area where that ship is going to deposit or dispose of that toxic waste. So the poor people who is living in that locality is not benefited. Means it is benefit for one, but at the same point of time it is destruction for the other. What should be the development goal for this country? Now, for this country as a whole, the development goal is something which is to be taken care of when it takes into consideration the goal of the company as well as of the people. But since the goal of the company is not right, because it is not always the profit which is associated with any country, it is also the quality of life, quality of health, quality of education of the local people which is living in a particular country. So when we talk about the development goal of this country, it should be proper arrangement or proper disposing of the waste, just the way that it should not harm any people of the any people in the society, and at the same point of time it should not release that foul smell or foul gases or poisonous gases that it is creating disease in the local areas, and it should be disposed of to an area where people are not living. ठीक है, so these are certain points which is associated with your chapter development, and this is something which we have covered till now. Rest we will discuss in the next part. I hope whatever we discussed today, you can clearly figure it out and you can clearly understand each and every point of it. If not, you can ask about it, about any kind of doubt if you have, or about any question from this topic, from whatever we have discussed till now, you can ask. Thank you so much.